Yeah, my girlfriend does it all the time.
And it's a fax.
Yes.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the First 30 here on the Funky Panther. We have got the man, the myth, the legend, Doc Roc himself here in the building. You want to say hey?
Hey.
There we go.
AKA Steve Traum.
Is that
Well
right?
done. Yes,
Traum.
Traum. Like
Very
trout
nice.
the fish.
Very nice.
Well done. Well done.
I was for sure you were wrong.
Did you put it in? Did you put it in like a
No.
no?
If you put it in something, then it's not going to say it the way it says it.
Well, like you did you look up the what's the word whenever it has the actual pronunciation, all like the little
Phonetic.
phonetic. Yeah, did you put in like some sort of phonetics thing?
YouTube's got a
Yeah.
bunch of those. Have you ever
Is it
like?
really?
I've been real worried about not pronouncing someone's name correctly. A lot of times it's not last name. A lot of times it's like first names. But you could go to YouTube and say, "How do you pronounce this?" I guarantee.
Watch it be all fake.
I know. I was about to say, what if someone just goes out there?
We should
all the wrong names.
we should make a
It's
video of that.
C-Had, not had. It's Aaron. It's Timothy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's weird.
You know, about once a year around this time, I get the question. It always pops back up. Why did I choose to go by Tim when I could go by Moth or Mothy?
Moth.
Moth or Mothy, you know.
Mothy.
And every year around this time, like I'll start getting flooded with the meme because the meme just pops up and then people start tagging me.
Oh, nice.
You're not a Timothy, so you don't have to deal with that kind of thing.
No. Instead, people mention that I look like the kid from Jerry Maguire.
Yes.
Yeah, or since you posted that picture and it was like me as a kid.
Yeah,
it was like me-
Tasman was like, he looks like the kid from Jerry Maguire. I'm like,
But when I was a kid, that's all I got was
I
like,
mean, is that better?
kid.
Is that better than Brian Posehn? Because
It is much better.
You've been
It's much better than that. Yeah, I will take.
you've been called that too.
Yeah.
who do you ever get, Steve, like that you look like?
You know, I'm unfortunately uncursed with that. Yeah, you know, hey, you look like your dad. Yeah, that's what you look just like him. I thought it was your dad in high school.
I would say you look like a better version of Newman from Seinfeld. I think it's the glasses and
Could
the
be.
goatee.
But like a handsome version?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
If it's a handsome version of anything, I guess I
handsome,
can't
yes.
complain.
who is it? Joe Patnev. I always say looks like
Neil. No wait. He looks.
he was married to
Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovett.
That's what I said. I
Yeah.
said that on
Oh,
stage.
Always
so-
think that
Joseph Neville?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I was like, he looks like a young Lyle Lovett, but like better.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's kind of like the facial shape and the hair.
Yeah.
He's
I
got
can
that
see
little
that.
curls and all
It's
that
like a long
stuff. Yeah.
face.
Yeah. You calling him a horse face?
Why would
You hear
do
that, Joe?
So rude.
What a
Horse
dick.
face.
in front of our doctor friend guest.
Oh man.
What a prick.
I won. I found out that I won that framed.
Oh fuck
portrait.
you, really?
Yeah. Well, I bid higher than you, so I didn't win it. I just did better.
Paid more money.
Yeah. Is
so-
that truly a win?
Yeah, for sure. It was
For him?
really cool.
Was it
canvas
money.
print.
What was in The Office whenever they're doing the silent auction and Dwight goes along? He's like, "Oh, I know how to do this." And he's like, exactly right on
He's
the
like
money.
the Price is
Yeah.
Right.
Is that what you did?
No. I just wanted. I heard someone say something less. I'm like, I'm going to do more than that.
What a a-hole.
What?
Boy, you're good at math.
Yeah, I can do mathematics.
I'll
That's
do
good.
more than that.
I did it. I think I beat it by 69 cents. Javier, what have you been up to the past week, man?
Well, trying to think.
Moving on. Timothy.
Yeah, I really didn't.
Man, so we
I'm just joking. You okay.
It was 420. I took an edible and I felt really great.
Oh, did y'all take
And,
the ones from Colt?
it was really.
What'd y'all think about it?
Went to sleep. Went to sleep. It's
They're
perfect.
fantastic.
Yeah. I it rained, on 420, right? And so we went down to Corsicana, or just outside of Corsicana, for her brother's annual crawfish boil, and they were going to have it rain or shine, so they put out a tent. I'm telling you, it was like walking through mud. I mean, it was crazy.
It was really bad out there, too?
It was terrible, absolutely terrible. It was a good time, and we ate a ton of crawfish and crab and all the things, right?
Yum.
Spent about 2.5, 3 hours out there, and then we were like, all right, we're done with the cold, we're done with the water, because we were outside, and so we came back. And I felt so bad because when we left, there was about 25 people that showed up over at his house in the rain. It was, trashed. Like everything, like the yards, like it's just trash.
Well, yeah.
Just knock the house down. Like seriously, like it was bad. Rip up the carpet bad, I think.
What?
Just because people need to go inside and use the restroom. It was mud everywhere. It was just, yeah. Outside of that, though, it was, I mean, given the circumstances, like it's still, we had a great time.
Good. That's great to hear. We did a crawfish boil one time when it was snowing at my old house. Were you there? You had to have been because we were brewing beer.
Yeah, it was in the garage.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, because
Oh yeah, we got iced in.
yeah.
it was a weird time. Well, how do we get crawfish?
And then we
in
went to the strip club.
I don't know. I don't remember why and how we got crawfish that early in the season.
Would you know? Like right now, they're saying. Well, they're not saying, but the crawfish is more expensive right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
It's going to go down.
Are you
towards,
a crawfish fan?
I like the tails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make it easy for me.
I won't suck the heads.
I'm not sucking no head, baby.
Oh, crawfish.
It's a
but
principal thing.
It's supposed to. It's supposed to go down in price.
Of course she is. I mean, wait.
What are we talking about?
Sorry.
Crawfish. It's supposed to go down in price towards later in the season. Something to do with the waters weren't warm enough for them to spawn and all that stuff. It's supposed to, yeah.
Well, we're having our annual one at the end of May, right? Memorial Day. We'll
Yeah,
have
which will
that
probably
again.
be a little bit cheaper.
Yeah,
by
that'll
then.
be nice.
Yeah. I couldn't get Dungeness crab. I could get I could get the whole crab, which they want to charge a ton of money for that whole thing. But I couldn't get just the legs. I had to settle for snow crab.
When you said dungeon, I was thinking of like a Dungeon and Dragon type situation where this crab
I
was
couldn't-
fighting.
I
don't
couldn't get the
know
dungeon
why that
crab.
just
A
popped
level 3 dungeon crab.
Yeah, there it is.
You better have your magic card ready.
Yeah, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we did they have these little things. They have these like crab. They call them crab fingerlings, and it's basically just the knuckle that they've already shelled and everything. They charge a premium for that. That's like $54 for a pound of it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're only paying for meat. You're not paying for the shell because a lot of times the shell is like
True.
the heaviest part.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, you're paying for
King
it.
crab is
They,
like
they do that with pistachios too.
I know.
And you pay a premium.
Do they really?
You pay a premium for the shelled ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do love the shelled ones because I suck all the salt off of them.
The shelled or the
With shell
Oh,
or
I mean,
shell?
with shell.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, with shell. Like, I feel like it'd be a quick treat if I just have it shelled. So I'm just like,
But I mean, we pay a ton of money for convenience, really, because I mean, I can get McDonald's delivered to me, or I can go pick it up, and if I get delivered, it's going to cost a minimum of $50.
I know, and crude oil is so cheap. Realistically, we just go to a gas station and
We
pump
should
out
sta-
essentially the same thing, right?
We should start processing our own gasoline. I don't see where that could go wrong.
I'm sorry you had to join us for the Idiots episode of the Funky Panthers.
It's a side hustle.
Brilliant.
It's a side hustle.
I guess.
I don't think it won't be a problem.
Javier, do you remember what you did this past week? Tim, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a cool little bracelet from Joseph Neville.
Ooh, me too. Did you get one?
Yeah, I did.
I love it. I should have worn it, but it's pretty tight.
I didn't, but I haven't seen Joseph, so I don't know.
You should. He's needs your love. He needs a hug.
It was from the Crying in the Car.
Crying in the car. Yeah.
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 He got his guitar back,
Good
He
for
did.
him.
and I want to know. I want to know more about the story, like where it went, or did he just simply misplace it?
No, he found it at the pawn shop.
Did he find it at the pawn shop?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was a whole like citywide search.
Yeah.
Looking for Peanut. I didn't even know the guitar had a name.
It's a
Does
very
your guitar have a name?
I knew now. I know now.
Better peanut.
No. Does your guitar have a name?
Oh, does my guitar have a... No.
No.
It doesn't have a name.
Not yet.
Well, I use several guitars, and, if you name one, the others get jealous.
Yeah,
True.
You got to have names for
Always
them all.
playing favorite.
They don't want to. They don't want to play right.
Like I don't know if this is meat and potatoes part of the episode or not, but I want to know more about. Well, we'll get into that in the hour. I want to ask about what guitars you play and you got any favorite brands and all that fun stuff. But
Yeah, we'll talk about
I
that
just
later.
lied. I
Yeah,
do have
we'll
one
talk about that
guitar. I do have one guitar named Dr. Sparkles.
Ooh.
So I just lied to you, but that's only because I didn't know I was lying.
It wasn't live. I
Does
didn't know
that-
it was lying.
Right, exactly. Oh, man, that's a good defense.
What about you, sir? What have you been up to this past week?
So the last week, the band has really been getting together and practicing some new stuff because we just went into the studio this past weekend. And we can talk more about that later, but we're trying to get together the whole second album ready, and we're doing some single releases along the way, some of which are already done, but these last few single songs that I've written, band has finally learned them, and then next few shows we'll unleash them to the world and see what happens. But basically the last few weeks have been writing, practicing, getting ready to record,
Hell yeah.
and then of course doing some surgeries in between.
Yeah. So
Always fun.
Do you sleep?
I do.
God,
but,
I hope so. If he's
but-
cutting
but-
on people.
yeah, but then the anesthesiologist has to wake me up.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
It's like the guy from
Man.
Little Pet Shop of Horrors. He's always on the nitrous.
That propofol
Yeah.
drip they give us,
Yeah.
really just best sleep ever.
No, I did 4 surgeries today, and if any of my patients are out there, I hope you're okay.
Man,
I don't remember anything, but I hope you're fine.
Yeah, you're good. No, you're good. They went. All the cases went fine. They
It's
did,
always
actually.
good when they go fine, right?
Yeah.
They did.
I can't wait to hear all about
You
it.
don't want exciting surgeries.
No,
You
I
just
don't
want
think you
run of the
do.
mill, like
Yeah.
basic.
You want nice,
Simple.
good routine, everything predictable, as planned.
That's good. That's really good.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
You go in there and you open them up and like, that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Tick, tick, tick.
You don't open them like, oh shit.
So there was an episode of Grey's Anatomy where there's like a shell inside somebody.
Like a seashell?
Not like a
Like a-
seashell.
Like what kind of shell you
Like,
talking
Oh,
about?
pistachio shell.
Yes, a pistachio.
From the bag that they
pistachio
shelled
shell.
already.
Yes, an artillery shell.
Oh.
And they're like, we got to get this thing out. It's armed. And they're like, la, la, la. And it's all nice, fine, and dandy.
Yeah, right.
And then she's like, and then like Meredith Grey's like, ah. And then all of a sudden, boom, the guy explodes. And there's like pink mist, because I guess that's what they call it. Pink mist everywhere.
Is this a real episode?
It was
or
a
are you
real
just making this
episode.
up?
It was on season 1, I think. No, season 2 maybe. And I stopped watching after that because of that.
They had a
episode.
live round of ammunition they took out, and it went off in the OR.
Yeah, it went off after the bomb squad guy who was Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights, who he like inched it out. He's like, I got it from here,
You
Meredith.
made this up.
No, it's widely
Oh,
known.
I believe it. I
You
believe
started
they did
some-
an episode like that. I just can't believe that past, medical edification.
It was like he was like a World War or a Civil War reenactor, and I guess whatever they shot had like a live round in it. And they're like, "Oh, it's live." And
But it's
Christina Ricci was in that episode, and she was a coward, and she ran away.
But it was a bullet.
No,
that
it was
exploded?
an artillery shell.
Like a cannonball.
From the Civil War?
Well, I mean,
They
maybe
were
it was
musket
like,
balls.
Yes,
Yeah.
true, but maybe it was like World War I shell. I'm not sure.
I feel
I'm
like
not sure
this
into the
is very
specifics.
historically inaccurate.
It very much is.
I feel
I'm
like
sure it was.
This has a lot of
anatomically-
holes in it.
That's why I think you made this up. Are you
This is
starting some new TikTok channel? This is how the
No.
episode should have gone.
Go back and look at episode whatever season 2 of
You're
Grey's
witnessing
Anatomy.
it, folks. The psychological decline of Javier in front of your eyes.
Oh, Kyle Chandler,
As
he
he-
exploded. It was very dramatic.
Honestly.
And because they were like, he's safe, he's gonna live, and it explodes, and then
he's got a good one for you.
A
You
new
should
TikTok
go.
channel
Yeah.
where you go and you're like, all right, this is how season 2, episode 3 of whatever show should have gone, and you like reenact it by yourself and just talk about how the episode should have gone.
Nah, girl, I'm gonna go near that artillery shell.
Yeah, that'd be a good TikTok.
You could do one of Gossip Girl.
Yeah,
mean,
man,
you
I
could
love
just-
me that. Oh yeah, shoot.
This is how it should have gone.
Anywho,
Do you have any favorite shows? Do you
Dr.
think there's
Steve,
anything that
what
you
else
love to
do you have?
watch?
Oh, man. If I'm going to spend time watching TV, which I don't do a lot of, it's usually going to be live sports. I was a big fan of South Park for a while.
Hell yeah.
That was, I love that show for a while.
So you up for a road trip to go to Colorado to eat at Casa Bonita?
They opened it. They opened
They
one,
opened
yeah.
it, yeah.
They opened one?
They
Yeah.
have, yeah.
They had a big grand opening, didn't
with
they?
cliff divers and everything.
Really?
They have the whole, yeah.
That's a pilgrimage.
It's Trey Parker and I can't remember his
Matt
name.
Stone.
They resurrected it from the grave and actually created, because I guess it was a real restaurant.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
like going through like financial
Yeah.
issues, and they bought it.
I forgot about that. I should have looked that up a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you were up there
I mean, it's a cheap flight. We should all just go up there one night.
just for that.
Just, yeah, one
Is it
night.
in Denver or is it in South Park, Colorado? I think
No.
there's actually a town called that. isn't
There is.
There is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's like on the southeast side of Denver, like in one of those little
That's worth a Google.
little town.
It's,
kind of like up and coming again.
That's like the tech center is like south, and then when you go east, that's where the Broncos. Because I stayed over there. I stayed in the.
It's actually in Lakewood, Colorado.
Lakewood. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
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 it's right
yeah.
by where we were. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a cheap flight.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd be down just to fly out in the morning, go there, eat, stay one night, come back the next morning.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
I'd be down.
I love a quick
Steve,
trip.
you want to go down to Colorado and just
Yeah, I thought
He's like, this is not how I thought tonight was
It's a
going to
calling
turn
at
out.
this point.
All right, folks, that's it.
We can all tell Canterbury tales on the way.
We are leaving, and we're going to go to Colorado. So thank you for joining me.
So, Steve, what else have you been up to this week? You had a. Is your schedule normally like 4 surgeries a day? Like, do you normally?
So it switches between being in clinic, where I'm seeing patients in the office, and that's typically Mondays and Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then doing surgeries on Tuesdays and Fridays. And so I was telling Chad earlier, I split between our main office in Fort Worth, part of the Texas Healthcare Bone and Joint Clinic, which is not Texas Health Resources. It's an independent practice. And then I have an office up in the South Lake area that I use.
Oh, cool.
And so I'll go back and forth from there. This morning I was in South Lake. This Friday I'll be, I believe, in Fort Worth. And that ties up the work week. And then, evenings, doing mostly musical stuff and,
Nice.
acknowledging that I have a wife every once in a while. But she's cool about it. She's actually a musician herself, which is cool. And so,
Oh, nice.
yeah, that's kind of mostly what I'm doing, because I'm just in this kind of writing music mode right now. And that's kind of how I spend a lot of my time.
Right.
Now, what is your what kind of musician is your wife?
She is she's a pianist.
Okay.
Although she plays multiple, she's very musically talented,
Right.
but will not play in front of anyone other than me. So she's, she listens to my stuff. she'll just sit down on a piano and play Mozart and then Chopin, and then she'll listen to one of my songs and by ear come up with this elaborate piano part that I'm like, we got to record that. And she's like, nope. I said, you got to come up and play that on stage. She's like, nope. And it reminded me of that old Bugs Bunny cartoon but Bugs Bunny wasn't in it, but it was that frog that sings.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Hello,
Yeah.
my baby. Hello, my
my
Harry. Hello, my Rex. Anyway, the name of
No.
that cartoon is Michigan Frog. And, when the guy takes him to the agent, the frog just sits there. And when he takes him to the stage, he sits there. But when they're alone, the frog
Yeah.
won't shut up. And so she's my Michigan Frog.
Yeah, I remember. Michigan
honey.
J-Frog.
I know you're watching.
Oh, man.
That's my uncle's the same way. I have an uncle that is he's a very
A
talented
frog?
Yes, he's a frog. It's crazy. He's a talented guitar player. Really talented. In fact, he had it was like a late 50s Gibson Les Paul that he stopped playing, and so he ended up selling and made some pretty good money on that. But talented guitar player. I only heard him play once from a room over. He will not play in front of people, just won't do it. And some people are like that, but I'm telling you, excellent guitar player. And I wish he would get out there and start a band or get out there and play for the masses, but he just won't do it.
Just real quick on the group chat. It was season 2, episode 17. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate that.
All right.
That's, Christy. Jamie.
Keeping us honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's our
guess
fact
it did
checker.
happen.
Checker.
All right.
yeah.
I guess Javier is sane after all.
Go back and watch. You're gonna be like, "What the hell?"
He
You're
doesn't
gonna be
imagine.
like, "You should have a channel where you're like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. That's not how that works." And I'm sorry.
I
Why
do
are
that
you so
all.
loud?
I do that all the time now,
Yeah.
and it drives Jesse nuts. I'll look and I'm like, you'll see somebody that's intubated. I'm like, that's not a ET tube. That's a what is that? And it's just some weird monstrosity they put on there, or they're doing X, Y, and Z.
That's not a knife. That's a spoon.
It makes her mad. It makes her mad to watch stuff like that with me.
Well, yeah. I'm sure she gets mad
Honestly,
watching most things.
She
with you.
does actually.
You just talk through them.
She hates me.
Womp womp.
No, she doesn't.
Poor.
It's sad. Yeah, nobody feels sorry for me. She beats me.
I don't. No, she doesn't. No,
It's
she
okay.
doesn't.
It's okay, Tim. You're fine. We love you. We love you. I guess. Chad, what'd you do this week? We didn't see what you did.
Why do you say I guess?
Well, because we didn't get to you yet.
Didn't he say it with such disgust?
He did.
No,
Right?
no. Disdain.
Disdain or
Yes.
disgust?
No.
Both
disdain.
of them, really.
Not disgust.
Hate. There was a lot of hate
was
behind
hatred.
what he said.
And he said it begrudgingly.
Yeah,
I
right?
did.
And now I don't even think I want to say.
Good.
So much stuff.
Hey, Chad, I'd like to know what you had going on.
Well, it was my dad's birthday. Shout
Oh.
out Mike.
Shout out.
Happy birthday.
Mike.
He.
The big 6'5".
Yeah.
Man, I did
Yeah.
not text him, and I should
Fuck,
have.
I didn't either.
That's
He
my
told me
bad.
you didn't.
That's my
Yeah,
bad.
he said,
Tim didn't
fuck
text.
Tim.
Yeah.
I'm never talking to him again.
Probably true.
He said, isn't someone in his family really good at guitar? Fuck that guy too.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I didn't even know that.
He did say
I
that.
had no idea.
He said that.
I took them to
I
Oak
believe
and
it.
Eden over there on Clear Fork. That place has the best cocktails in Fort Worth, hands down. They're the best cocktails I've ever had.
Lance was telling me the same thing.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're paying, $17 minimum for a cocktail.
Oh, good Lord.
But the Sazerac is the best I've ever had. They had this like banana thing that was amazing.
It's a hammock.
Oh, right. No, it was like a tiki drink you would expect a good tiki drink to taste, but it wasn't a tiki drink. It was just really, really good. But all the cocktail bartenders, whatever, they're really, really good there. And the guy that manages it is like really big into like cooking and stuff like that. We need to have him on maybe at some point. But they were like they were browning their butter while we were there in the bar. And so like the whole bar smelled amazing. We're like, what the hell are y'all doing? And he was like, we're making our brown butter for our whiskey infusion that they do. And they do this cocktail with brown butter, and it was just out of this world. It is so good. It is amazing. But yes, everything there is good.
I just have a hard time shelling out 17.
Agreed. But would you rather go and spend $10 on one that you're like, nah, it was all right?
No.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you get anything here, and it's going to be.
Everything's going to be good.
The guy makes his own absinthe so that the Sazeracs taste better, and they do. They taste better than any Sazerac I've ever had in my life. They're so good. Whatever. So
I mean, I'm sold. I'm sold on it.
At least once.
I'll try it.
Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, I won't pay the.
I won't tell you you're wrong. I'll try it, and I'll be like, yeah, it was good.
So there's this thing that they do at Oak and Eden. Are y'all familiar with? Have you heard of Oak and Eden or anything like that?
I'm hearing about it now.
Have you been?
I have not been.
Okay.
I'm intrigued, though.
It's like their second location, and it's such a cool concept because I don't even know if they distill their own whiskey, but they've got all of these different variants of whiskey, like your rye, your honey, all these different. But their whole thing is basically marketing. It's like they're putting these spires from all these different barrels, like balsamic or honey or whiskey, or not whiskey. That would make too much sense. But like wine and all these different liquors and stuff like that, and that way you can kind of make your own bottle. You're like, I love the rye. And I think balsamic would be fun. So you go and you spend $150 to taste all the different whiskeys and make your own bottle, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and then you get like you can kind of create your like blend or whatever. How much from this barrel to this barrel and so forth.
And the longer you let it sit, people always talk about like the barrel age and things like that. It'll just change with time, so you can have it every now and then. And because the spire or spiral, whatever.
So they leave a spire. Okay, so they leave a spire.
They leave it in the bottle, so it just kind of keeps aging. Pretty neat. But
yeah, my understanding is they have two or three different kinds of whiskeys or bourbons, and you pick that, and you're tasting it the whole time to decide what you like, and then they have different infusions,
right.
Whether you like a honey infusion or a berry infusion or whatever, and then what kind of woody aftertaste do you want? And they have like oak and some other woods on the actual spiral piece of wood that they then soak in whatever you want to infuse it, and they put all that in the bottle.
That's badass.
And then that you kind of customize it to what you end up liking at the end of the session.
That's interesting. Like I feel like that's I'm not a big flavored whiskey person. I like pretty much like what comes out of the barrel, but I would like to give it a shot. I just don't know if I want to spend $150.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that. But it is yours.
I would be concerned. Like, what if I picked wrong?
Yeah.
I think most of them are like $70 a bottle or $75 if you get the bottle. I don't know what it costs to do the tasting.
$70 pre-made, but to do to $150, I think is where you get to make your own.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's only certain options of like the normal ones.
Yeah, but what if I get it wrong? That's the thing.
I mean, it's still good either way. Look, the way I see it is that if you're going to have the opportunity, they're going to give you a chance to taste it, right?
Right.
Like you go ahead and mix whatever you want, curate whatever you want, and then whenever you're done, this is like, all right, this is what it's going to be. Here it is, and here, give me your money.
It also it scares me that like, what if it's because it changes over time, right?
Yeah.
So what if I start off and this is really good, and then like a year goes by and I taste it, I'm like, this is terrible.
Well, then you're
not drinking enough.
Yeah, you weenie. You shouldn't have it for a
when
year.
you like it, drink it or take the
not
thing
for
out.
lightweights, man.
So I'm like that with food. When it comes to like liquor, wine, like food, it's like if you're gonna, you want to splurge on that. You don't want to just like go have Taco Bell before you go try this whiskey.
Well, no, I mean, you know how I am with food too. I'm the same way.
Of course,
like I'm perfectly. I don't know. I'm perfectly fine spending, a good amount of money on an experience in a restaurant or whatever. I don't do it all that often, but like we went to, I mean, R.I.P., but Mizumi, Mizumi was that was an awesome restaurant. It was amazing food. It was a really good time, and I don't mind spending that money. But I have a hard time sometimes spending, like if I'm crafting it myself.
Yeah.
Because I put too much pressure on myself, I think. And so then I'm like second guessing everything I'm doing, and it's not an enjoyable time for me.
Well, it's like with anything else: shoes, musical instruments, clothes. I mean, it's like, you know, you want
Buyer's remorse.
You should never have buyer's remorse. I mean, with that stuff you can return it, but when it comes to like fine alcohol and cheeses.
Anyways, all right, back to my weekend. Jesus Christ.
Oh, hey, you were talking about liquor. I'm sorry.
What the? We went on clothes.
Yeah.
Saturday was 420, so it was like a whole thing. It was like wake up, went and got like a breakfast pizza at QT, hung out at the house because it's raining, not a whole lot to do. We watched Half Baked. Haven't seen that since. Remember back in my old apartment,
yes,
Wildwood? That was the only movie I had, and so anytime anyone came over, it's like, you want to watch Half Baked? That's the only thing we had. I didn't have cable or anything like that. It was Half Baked.
You had a laptop full of movies.
Yeah.
and porn.
And Half Baked, I think, was the only DVD I actually had. And so, yeah.
It's
I don't
weird,
know.
man.
It's weird. It is weird.
Is that why you don't watch movies over and over again? Is because you got sick and tired of watching that same one over and over again?
I never watch movies more than once, generally. Like, there's a couple exceptions to the rule, like Inception.
Clearly Half Baked.
Or,
Clearly.
You know, Interstellar, things like that. But when I was younger, like Half Baked and Napoleon Dynamite, in old school, and Animal House, I watched all of those movies probably 10 to 20 times. And everything else I've watched once or twice, probably.
See, he was in college whenever he was watching all these movies, so he's like, "Oh, I got a party."
Now, do you watch them on your computer, or do you have a DVD player?
I had a DVD player. I've got an Xbox now, so I do.
So
I
you
do
had a
watch them.
DVD player for your one DVD.
Yes, that is correct. Thanks, Doc.
I'm just trying to get a clear picture here.
No, I had.
I feel like I'm getting to know you better. And
I had
better.
real intentions of being able to afford more DVDs in the future. So there was growth eventually. But you got to start somewhere.
You got a lot invested in that Half Baked movie.
That is right. That is true. So we were going to go to the Fort Worth Arts Fest, but it was rain out basically, and so we waited. We went to Martin House and hung out there. Got to see Colt, but he was talking to a bunch of people, so I didn't want to bother him. But he was there. And then we went out for Ruben's 50th surprise birthday. It was fun. It was like a chola, party. It was a good time.
Where's it at?
It was right over there by the golf course. Like whatever that road is, it's Green Oaks, turns into whatever. And like you're going down that hill, and then the golf course on your right. And there's like this building. It's like it's like a little shopping center, but one of them is like a hall.
I got you. I know. It's
Yeah.
Lackland.
Yeah, Best
yeah.
Buy.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. It was a good time. And then Sunday we went to Tommy Wong's? No, Teddy Wong's. Have you been?
No.
I figured you and Tammy would have gone.
She has gone. I haven't gone.
Okay. It was
I haven't
great.
gone yet.
Have you been?
I don't know what
Teddy
is it?
Wong's. It's like this it's kind of like a Chinese and wine place, or a dumpling and wine place. Like I don't know. It was a lot of dumplings and fried rice and things like that, but they do like
Is it the place
Peking
on
duck.
Is it on Rosedale?
Yeah.
Yeah. Used to be Lee's Walk.
I think so.
And it looks like an old convenience store.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it's got they have a huge wine selection. Like it's
Really?
pretty impressive. Yeah. And the food was phenomenal.
Man, I want to try it, but I also really miss Lee's Walk. That was one of my favorite places.
Really? I'd never been
Dude,
there.
their food was phenomenal, and it was cool because they started off. If you look at it, the big area, like if you're looking at the building to the left, was still a convenience store when they first started, and they were strictly in that little right-hand side.
Oh.
And then they took over, and then COVID really just did them under.
Well, it's beautiful on the inside. I don't know if
Yeah.
Lee's Walk
It
was really nice, but
it wasn't really
insane.
nice. It was nice enough, but it wasn't really nice.
I thought we were driving to the wrong place, and I pulled up. I'm like, it kind of reminded me of like Chef Point, like when it used to be a
Yeah,
gas
yeah.
station back in the day. And I was like, I think we're in the wrong place, and it was great.
I miss Cannon.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Oh yeah,
Cannon Chinese Kitchen.
that was great.
I miss that whole vibe there.
Do you have a favorite footwear spot or somewhere you go a lot?
Let's see. That's a good question.
Do you live in the Fort Worth area?
Actually live more toward the Keller area.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah, we're going places up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's something that you like up in the North Fort Worth Keller area?
So, well, there's a Chinese restaurant called Dragon House where they actually imported legit
Dragon
House. Yeah, dragons.
They imported dragon.
Legit, like Taiwanese noodle chefs. They like whack the noodle, and they went viral on the internet for a while, and you couldn't get in. When they first opened, they had to close down because the original owners apparently were tied in with some sex trafficking. In
Oh
town.
my god!
Shit.
And that was a whole big thing, and it shut down. But it had nothing to do with the restaurant. And so my understanding is that the noodle chefs and the management of the restaurant, separated themselves from all that stuff, got cleared, and reopened it. And it's it's a legit, authentic Chinese place that's in South Lake.
Dragon House in South Lake. So Christy or Jamie, that's where they live up that way. So she's always looking for new and interesting places.
Yeah, I want to go up there. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and my wife, who's she's Korean, we like to go into like Carrollton and get Korean barbecue and stuff, and just go crazy.
Yeah, that's H Mart. I'm actually looking forward because they got an H Mart that's going to be built at like basically Beach and 820.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
So I'm hoping that it's the same size as the one in Carrollton with the little, because I love that little food court. They have so much unique things that you can eat and try, and it's all extremely tasty.
I'm looking at pictures of Dragon House and the food, and it looks amazing.
We went to Seapot in Plano.
Yeah. We did.
And so hot pot and Korean barbecue. Yeah, and so good.
There's kind of an upper scale, you wouldn't expect it, but an upper scale Vietnamese place called V's House that's in, I believe it would be North Richland Hills.
So I've heard of V's House.
I don't think that you're the first person on here that's talked about how good that place was.
Yeah, I mean, it's in this kind of strip mall shopping center where everything else is dead, and then there's this great... It's right at the crux of thing like Bedford Euless Road, and
I think
I've seen
Airport
to like a
Freeway.
Pet Boys or something like that, like something
Maybe.
random. I think I have been there. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like,
but the food there is amazing,
Yeah.
and great dumplings, and they do sushi there as well. So it's more of an Asian bistro thing, but they have a lot of pho alternatives and that sort of thing.
that's what I had was the pho.
How do you feel about hot pot?
I don't do it. My wife loves it. I haven't done one.
So good.
Not a hot pot.
My
person.
girlfriend loves hot pot.
I do
She
too.
loves it. So good.
I'm a fan of it. Well, should we?
Are you done? Are you done?
Are you done?
Yeah, because we're going to talk about Civil War. I saw J-Boy at the movie.
Oh,
but,
shit.
Oh, he was at the movie?
He was in the movie?
Not in the movie.
He shaved his head. It makes sense.
No, he's got his hair back.
Oh, thank God.
And he's rocking these badass glasses.
Yeah.
He's
I miss
with
my boy.
his new girl.
His new beau.
Yeah.
Can I say, is that beau? Did I say it
I
right?
think it's Boo.
Who?
Or Bay.
Bay.
Bo's the
Bay,
guy.
Bo, Bay.
Yeah.
Bay, Bo, Boo.
He is her beau.
She is, yes. She is.
She is his
he
bae.
He is her, yes. There it is. Look at that. Me, look at me.
Street Lingo 101. Funky Panther.
I don't need that. I actually realized that I have text messaging on my iPad.
I don't need
and
you.
So we're gonna do what we did on this last episode.
Wait, hold on. I got to get on the drink because I want to hear this song.
Will you get me a LaCroix, please, sir?
Okay, we're gonna sit here awkwardly as Javier couldn't wait. Oh my gosh.
It's going to be worth the wait. It's going to be worth the wait.
Let me ask you, how do you feel about new wave, like 80s synth new wave?
I love it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So, yeah. And that's not what I play, but
Right.
I'm like,
Troumatics, they're ready to entertain. He walks into this guitar bar.
was.
I wouldn't even listen to the
Freaking
lyrics.
awesome.
You know, AI is scary sometimes, but damn it, the past 2 weeks, it's been like knocking it out of the park.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good stuff.
It's definitely one of those things that you know, you never know what it's gonna say. So
We gotta start the show. We gotta start the show.
That was fantastic.
Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to the Funky Panther. Coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas, we have got a hell of a show for you here on episode 172. Hooray! There it is.
there it is.
Nailed it.
It was
The timing was
it was
perfect.
mute. It was muted.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
perfect. We have got Doc Roc in the building from the Troumatics. You want to say hi?
Hey, everybody.
We're going to get into all the good stuff. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'm Chad.
I'm Javier,
And I'm
and
Tim.
we are the
Funky Panther!
Woo! And it feels so good. Feels so good.
Now, he does it for you.
I just wanted to do a thing like, you know, David Letterman would always go, our guest needs no introduction. Today, on this episode, we have Doc Roc, a.k.a. Steve Traum, from the... do you say the Troumatics?
Troumatics.
Because I was like, well, how do you use his last name?
You just said he didn't need an introduction, yet you're doing it. What is this?
What is happening?
That's how he... I don't know, man. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich all day today. It's a busy day at work. Just, you know.
You okay?
Yes. Yeah. My ears are burning.
What?
Steve's like, what the fuck's going on?
What does that mean?
I don't know what's happening right now.
Man.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if
Do you have a pain on the left side of your head?
did you hear a loud clap of thunder
Thunder.
just out of nowhere?
Yes,
Followed
what?
by a headache.
Yes. Is that what's that thing called?
I think you're fine.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's all normal.
Steve, how are you doing tonight?
I'm well, thank you.
What do you like to go by? Because, you know, you go by Doc Roc when you're being professional on stage.
Professional. That's his professional life. Is
So,
Doc Roc.
you know, when I'm just with the guys and girls, I'm Steve. Certainly when I'm in the clinic, everyone calls me Dr. Traum. And then Doc Roc is just a goofy stage name that was assigned to me back in the day that I haven't been able to shake, and so I just kind of own it now.
Do you hate it? I mean, is it just like one of those things that's like you just said? It's, you know, just
Yeah,
stuff?
I don't hate it. It is, you know, it's one of those things. It is what it is. That's how people know me, and so it's okay. You know, if I were to think of my own nickname, I'd probably do something a little more intuitive, but you know, a little more abstract. But it's cool. It rhymes,
You can always
and
do-
it tells you what I do. He's a doc, and he likes to rock.
Just
so
do a symbol and say I'm the artist formerly known as Doc Roc.
There you go.
That's how you
What's
say
the
it.
symbol going to be?
A stethoscope.
Stethoscope?
I don't know. Do you?
That's too easy.
You don't
Yeah,
use
I know.
Do you use? I mean, do you use a stethoscope? You don't, right? I mean,
Occasionally I will, but since I'm a hand surgeon, generally, you know, I'm dealing with your hands and
Not a whole
really
lot of
with-
breathing down there in the hand.
Yeah.
You know?
So, you know, just to make sure you're healthy and okay for surgery, you might listen to your heart and your lungs. But as far as, you know, evaluating hand complaints, you don't necessarily need a stethoscope.
All right, so we've got two whole sides of you that we need to talk about.
We
Which
do.
one do you want to start with? The Doc or the Roc?
Oh, man.
We're giving you the option here.
Let's start with Doc.
Okay.
Well, then I've got a question real quick.
I've got a question.
can you
I
take
have
a
a-
look at this boil I have? In my-
No, I've got a question for you. So, as a orthopedic hand surgeon, are you doing a lot of? I mean, you schedule cases out, right? But do you get a lot of kind of emergency cases? I've got to go in there and do some work, or are you kind of over that now and strictly just scheduling stuff?
I'll get a smattering of trauma. You know, I don't work at one of the big trauma centers, so I'm not getting these disasters. But I'll have people that, you know, break their wrists or their hands, or the drunk guy that gets in the fight with his girlfriend and
Yeah.
punches the wall. And it's like, I thought it would get better last week, but it didn't. And they'll come in and they've got fractures and stuff that I'll do surgery on. But, you know, most
Sir,
of
your hand's all messed up. We're gonna have to fix that.
yeah, or, you know, or guys that, you know, ignore that they got hurt, and then finally realize. You may know someone like that, Tim.
Yeah, I think both of us, Chad and I, both are.
But a lot of what I do is elective stuff like carpal tunnel syndrome. You hear a ton about. I do a bunch of that. Various tendinitises and tennis elbow and trigger fingers, arthritis reconstructions, tumor work. Sports injuries. So, some of those routine surgeries. I don't know. For me, I would think that like eventually it's just like another carpal tunnel that I've got to do, and you're just the same kind of thing over and over again, and eventually you're just like I don't want to do another one of those for the rest of my life. Have you reached that point, or is it still really really enjoyable every single time that you? It's still pretty fun to do surgery. I mean, I'm going to tell you, when you're able to cut on someone legally and fix shit,
it's pretty.
It doesn't
cool.
get old.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I love that.
We got to get the scalpel, and you're like, all right, I'm going through the skin.
Have you ever legally cut somebody?
I mean, how many of you have done that?
I do kind of get that because I've gotten to pack some gunshot wounds and stuff like that, and that is actually kind of enjoyable. It's weird.
Yeah, if you're into it.
It's
not
weird.
for
Like it's not for everybody to have your
All
finger in someone's like wound sitting there just packing stuff in there, but like it's still kind of it's cool.
I'm okay.
But yeah, the surgery part is still fun for me.
So I would assume that you have a lot of hand models, right? How often do hand models come in and just like, I need them to be beautiful again, and then you have to take care of that?
0.
It's like not a single
He's
one.
not a cosmetic hand surgeon.
Make them beautiful again.
Is that I wonder if that's a market for beautiful like cosmetic hand model surgeons?
Start having commercials where your hands.
Well, it's
look
not for
beautiful.
hand models, but there is a field of what's called hand rejuvenation, and so you have like particularly older ladies that get the big veins or the age spots, and they want something cosmetically done for that. And there's some things that you can do, but you can't make them look.
Now
I was totally joking. I didn't know there was anything near
There
that.
is.
but
It's
if I wanted Chad to be my hand twin, could we make that happen? That's the question. Like, because you never know when you need a hand twin.
What's the dumbest question you've ever been asked about your
You guys are approaching it. I mean, I suppose theoretically I could switch your guys' right hands, so like he would have your right hand and you'd have his.
We have like a face-off, handoff situation.
It wouldn't work that. It probably wouldn't work that great, but at least you'd be together all the time.
That's so weird.
All right, let's get back to the real shit.
yeah.
That took a.
It's gonna be a weird
Completely
night.
digressed here.
All right, so where'd you go to med school at?
Wake Forest University in North Carolina.
Okay, and in your time in med school, because I know I've had several friends who've gone through there, and it's literally for 4 years of that time they're just dead to the world. Was that for you as well, or did you have other stuff that you were able to?
We partied a little bit in med school, so it's much more work than college.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a full-time thing, but you still manage to have a life. It's 4 years of medical school. The first 2 years are mostly classroom, at least when I was going through, and then the second couple of years as you're rotating through all the different specialties in the hospital and stuff. And then after that, you pick your specialty. In my case, it was surgery, and so you do a 5-year surgery residency, and then you do another extra year just specializing in just hands. And so it's a 10-year journey after college to do what I do.
And then finally you're there. But I did see that it seemed like you did have a little bit of time on your hands because you had a band called Peel and Eat Shrimp.
Yeah. So, I've been doing music for a long time. And my brother Ken, who also now lives here in Fort Worth, he and I have always played together and stuff, cover bands, but we'd still write stupid songs back in the day. And during the first couple of years of medical school, I had a band, and we call ourselves Peel and Eat Shrimp. And the reason was because there was this big major intersection in North Carolina, in Greensboro, which is the town I actually grew up in. And it was some seafood place, and on their big marquee on the corner of one of the busiest intersections in town, it said, "Tonight, Peel and Eat Shrimp." And so we're going to name our band that, so everybody thinks we're playing there all the time.
Clever. Clever.
And
That's free advertisement there.
yeah, so
Except they're not playing there.
We played a couple of gigs for the medical school, picnic, and then a couple of gigs with the local bars. One bar had was pretty famous back in the day, but yeah, that was probably the first time. One of my earliest bands. We had another band when I was like more in high school, early college. We were called the Dipshits, all with the blessings of our parents for some reason. And that was our true first band. And we used to play, other kids' houses for pizza parties and jokes like that. So
you've always been doing music pretty much then?
Yeah, whole life. I wish I could have done it full time because, we were writing music and stuff, but it takes a lot of work to become a doctor, apparently.
Yeah. So you bring up pizza parties. I do want to talk about Ninja Turtles. I do want to talk about your brother Ken and how he was in the movie The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 specifically, right?
Well, he was the stunt double for Raphael in the first one.
Yes.
And I don't want to steal his thunder because ultimately you guys should probably have him on the show. Yeah. And he's got an autobiography that's out there now called... I think Teenage Ninja to Mutant Turtle, if I'm saying it correctly, where he tells the whole story of how he became, wanted to be an action hero, did martial arts, and worked his way onto the Ninja Turtle set, first as an extra, and then became the actual turtle. But yes, those movies were filmed. A lot of them were parts that were filmed in North Carolina,
no kidding.
Which is how he was able to kind of get there locally. And so he was the stunt double for Raphael for the first one. He was the actual actor turtle for Secret of the Ooze, which was the second one. Mm-hmm. And so that's how he got into the martial arts movie thing.
So, musician, brother's a musician, you're a musician, you're a doctor. Is your brother a doctor?
No.
Okay, so are you the
He's
only
a turtle? He just said
he was an actor.
Okay,
actor, but also did production and director.
Okay.
He was living in L.A. for a while, and he just moved to I shouldn't say just. I guess he's been here 7-ish years now.
Now, are you the only doctor in the family?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a big, that's a kind of a big jump. You see people with come from a long lineage of doctors and stuff like that, or whatever. What got you to go that route versus, your brother went acting, you went doctor. So what led you down your path?
I was always a kind of science math guy. And so biology intrigued me. And then my mom said, you should be a doctor. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, the way the human body works always intrigued me, and the thought of being able to do that. And plus everyone's like, oh, be a doctor. That's a cool thing to do. Yeah. And, first I'm like, well, can I be a doctor? Do I have the ability to be a doctor? Ultimately, the answer was, yeah, I guess so. Here we are. So it all kind of worked out. But yes, anatomy and physiology and the science of the human body has always intrigued me.
Where along that way did you choose your specific, with hands and surgery?
So I didn't know I wanted to be a surgeon until I actually got to medical school, and we were going through those rotations. Because when I first went to medical school, I thought I wanted to be a radiologist because I thought x-rays were cool. Or a cardiologist because hearts, were important. Yeah. And then when I actually experienced it, I didn't really gel with the cardiology people. And x-rays, radiologists, they do a great job, but they don't really fix anything. They just kind of sit in their rooms and read x-rays. And I wanted to do more than that. And so when I rotated on the surgery rotations, and they were actually like cutting on people and fixing shit, I'm like, I found my people.
This is it.
Yeah. And so hands, again, very important, very intricate, very challenging. And so that's where my calling was.
Very cool. Awesome.
But it was so surgery, I get that, but whenever you started seeing the intricacies of hands, did you go through a surgical rotation where they were actually working on somebody's hand and it was kind of that aha moment, or did you start going through different body parts, what's going to be the most intriguing to me?
Yeah, once I got to surgery, then I gravitated a little more toward orthopedic surgery. And then when I worked with the hand surgeons, that was wow, that's some kind of cool stuff that they're doing. And I have all the respect in the world for the other surgeons, but when you take a person who doesn't have their hands working right and you make them work right and they get back to work and they get back to playing with their kids or playing sports, that's super rewarding. And it's just
I can
very
only
good.
imagine, yeah, for sure. You
Yeah,
don't realize how much you do, obviously, with your hands.
Well, it's how you interact with the world.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah,
And,
a friend of mine at work just lost the tip of his finger in a tragic saw accident. Not while he was at work, he was doing his side thing, but he said, and it's his left hand. He's like, I didn't realize how much I actually use my left, non-dominant hand, and specifically his pointer finger on his left hand, until he had it all mangled and everything else. So
I hear that all the time. They're like, I'm strictly right-handed, but you take away their left hand, they notice it, and they're glad to have it back.
Oh, I'm sure. So moving from
Doc to Roc.
From Doc to Roc. So you had, you were always Dr. Roc or Doc Roc at some point, right? Having those bands and whatnot, or having a band in med school. But you dropped Peel and Eat Shrimp, and then you finished up med school and everything else. How did you get to Doc Roc and the Troumatics now?
So, I've always done music. I've always
Right.
had a little, home thing where I'm doing little demos and stuff. But really, right before COVID, I decided I was going to get more serious with my songwriting. And so I joined some of the local, the Fort Worth Songwriters Association, the Dallas Songwriters
Were
Association.
you already in Texas? How long have you been in Texas?
I've been in Texas since 2000.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I got more serious about, writing songs. And then after I started writing more songs, I'm like, hey, I want to get a band together and let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And so, I had a drummer that I knew that did drum parts on my demo stuff. And then actually a buddy of my brother's that he knew professionally played bass that we had done jams, just weekend jams with. And he got on board. And, we learned the songs, went to the studio, recorded, a dozen of them or so, and then started playing the Fort Worth music scene. Now, after the first, and that was, of course, COVID hit, and so our first show wasn't really until 2001, or 2021, excuse me. And then as soon as we did that, the drummer was like, all right, this is fun, but he was an airline pilot who was getting ready to retire, and he wanted to use his airline things to go see the world, and then not necessarily, be around here in my stupid band. No, he had a good time. But I had to find a replacement drummer, and so it ended up being the husband of an OR nurse that I knew.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the drummer that we have now. And then ultimately, the bass player went back to do a band with my brother, and a family practice doctor that I know plays bass, and now he's the bass player. So two of us are doctors in the band, and the other one's the husband of an OR nurse. So we all have some connection to the medical thing.
Right.
And as this is going on, I'm still writing new songs. I was actually the Dallas Songwriters Association 2021 Songwriter of the Year, which was cool. We wrote more stuff, got into the studio, released more stuff, played a bunch of gigs, and it is what it is now.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
And now you got your songs on like Kanon, KTCU,
Bunch of them.
bunch of radio stations.
Yeah, we just released a new song a couple of weeks ago, and 88.1 Indie already played it. There are a couple of internet stations that have played it. Rarity Rock Radio has been playing it regularly this month. But just in the past, this is going to sound like I'm bragging, but I'm not. What I'm telling you, the reason I'm about to tell you this is to tell everyone else the possibilities of what Fort Worth music can do.
Yeah.
And so you've got that CD up there. That's our first album. There are 10 songs on that CD. All 10 have been played on the radio at some point.
Nice.
Whether it was KXT, KNON, and most of them multiple stations. KTCU, we have a bunch of songs in rotation on KTCU. They're really good to us. KUZU in Denton plays our stuff. 88.1 Indie, even they're all talked now, but 97.1 The Freak
Oh, yeah.
used to have a local thing on Sundays.
Yeah.
Adventure, was it the Adventure Club?
No, that was
Or was it
1021, but they had the local show.
Yeah.
They had a local show, Loud and Local or something
Yeah.
like that. and Debbie Sexton was the DJ for it, and she loved our stuff and would play it. Several of the songs on 91.7 or 97.1. 91.7 is KXT. So we've had several songs on there too. So we've enjoyed a lot of local radio play on there. And so I guess my message is to all other, Fort Worth artists that are getting started, make good music and good things can happen. You can get on the radio, which is pretty cool.
What you had jam sessions whenever you started playing back up. When did it click? When was it that moment where it clicked? You're like, hey, we need to start getting serious, start writing songs, and getting to that point.
That was more of a personal decision, not so much in association with the jam sessions, but having done the jam sessions, I had access to these other musicians that were on board with trying that. It's like, hey, let's take this out of our living rooms and see what happens. Let's see what Steve's music can do. Yeah. Because they weren't writers. They weren't writing anything. I had gotten some recognition again through some of the songwriters associations. And it's like, well, this might work. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So were you taught music whenever you were younger in middle school, high school, or is this something that you just kind of picked up and started learning on your own?
So music in general, my dad was very musical. He's not with us anymore, but he played a bunch of different instruments. And so it started when I was young, tooting on a harmonica in elementary school. Ultimately, I took up clarinet like in 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah.
If I could do it over again, I'd probably go saxophone.
They're somewhat interchangeable.
They got some cool jazz clarinets I've heard, and stuff like that. So it's not a bad instrument.
It's not a bad instrument, but ultimately I got tired of that. I had a couple of years of piano lessons. I can't sight read music, but I can look at a music staff and say, oh, that's a C, and that's a quarter note.
Yeah.
And then I just, my dad started taking Spanish fingerstyle guitar lessons. Ooh. So there was an acoustic guitar around the house, and I taught myself chords. Back in those days we had books.
Yeah.
Right? And you could get a book to learn the chords, and I learned very easy 1970s pop songs, just strumming the chords. And then once I learned a few chords, I'd started just playing the chords and making up my own songs. Again, horrible, but it was a start.
You got to start somewhere.
And then, I was just going on, and I never really had a guitar lesson. I just sort of self-taught from books, and then later on YouTube and stuff. And then I started, within the last few years, I started teaching myself mandolin and ukulele, just to add to the flavor and stuff. But always, guitar is my go-to instrument. And I was never a great singer, but I knew my range. As long as I stayed within those 3 or 4 notes, I was good. Or if I didn't do a melody, I could at least scream it.
Yeah.
It was okay. What I realized is that history is wrought with mediocre musicians making magnificent rock and roll, and I aspire to join their ranks.
That's 100% accurate.
So you talked about harmonica. Do you play harmonica?
I do a little bit. Yeah, there's a
there
couple
is
songs.
some,
Yeah, that's me playing
I was
harmonica.
going to ask you. I was going to ask, who played that? Did you play that or? But
I play the harmonica parts on that.
Pretty sick.
Those songs.
Yeah.
And are you coming up with all the lyrics, or do you collaborate some with your other?
No,
bandmates?
it's all me.
That's all you.
The songs are 100% me.
All right, so then I've got a couple of questions then.
All right.
Because as I dug into that album, I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, man, there's one that talks specifically about basically putting your phone down.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Getting off of social media. You're not going to find me here. I'm not. You're not going to get to know me on this.
Right.
So we grew up in this time period where we were born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. We were at that cusp of social media really wasn't a thing, and then it started to be a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
MySpace being like one of the earliest,
Zanga,
stuff like that, like actual blogs, whatnot. Now, I say all that, so we've seen kind of both ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in what we do now, we found that social media is the only way that we are going to get ourselves out there, and so it's kind of a necessary evil. So how do you navigate that? Because I feel like those words came from the heart that you sang, but you still have to kind of pander to the evils of social media. It seems.
No, again, it's another thing of like, all right, the way the world should be isn't the way the world is, and you got to deal with the way the world is. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And the way the world is you're absolutely right. Social media is here; it ain't going anywhere. It's how you have to reach out to the world now. What the song is coming from is more of when you're sitting there at dinner with people, or you're at a concert and you're you're trying to enjoy a show, to put your phone down. Don't sit there trying to film it or take selfies or whatever. Engage with the people that are in front of you, and that not everything has to be, your interface with life doesn't have to be 100% the phone.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And that's what the song is really trying to say. It's not like social media is bad,
right,
or cell phones are bad. I mean, they're awesome.
There's a necessity for certain things, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but at some point you gotta not interact with everything on the phone. That your virtual friends aren't real friends.
Agreed.
And that you gotta embrace. You got eyes and ears. Try to use them, and for what's around you. That's kind of the message of this, because there are people that overdo it.
Yeah,
and we all know people like that.
Chad and I recently went to, two separate concerts, but same guy. So he went to Tool, and I saw Perfect Circle just recently. And Maynard, the front man for both those bands, has this anti-recording. Don't bring your phones out. I don't want to see your screens. I don't want to see that all lit up. Enjoy, kind of be here in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it on both sides of things, where people are like, I can't believe you're telling me what to do. But also there's something nice about it, and I started doing this more at the more concerts I go to. Instead of bringing my phone out to record that small snippet that I'm not going to do anything with. I'm literally not going to go back and watch it and relive that thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why am I doing this? And actually just leave my phone in my pocket and just being there in the moment. And I can tell you with 100%, it's more enjoyable.
I have been trying to be a lot more intentional this past year. Like, anytime I'm at dinner or with drinks or when I'm with other people, I try to I'll put my phone face down on the table, and not because I just don't want it to be a distraction.
Yeah.
I don't want it to vibrate on my pocket. I don't want it to light up and everyone look at it. I want to put it face down so no one knows what's going on, and I can have an interaction with the people I'm with, because I completely agree. Like, what's the point of going out and hanging out with people or going to dinner with family or friends or whatever, and then someone's just on their phone or, just not in the moment.
Exactly, and that's where that song comes from. I have to keep my phone with me because, again, I'm a doctor and there's an answering service, and sometimes emergencies happen that I have to respond to.
They can take care of themselves. It's fine.
Yeah, but so I have to kind of be available, but at the same time, I need to just kind of keep that thing down. And I get accused of it too, where I'll be on my phone at dinner and my wife kicks me or something.
Doom scrolling. It's real easy to get into that.
That's different when you're a doctor and you've got emergencies, I think, right? Like, that is completely different.
Right.
But, I mean, I think that the normal, how many notifications blink for us generally? You know what I mean? Like, for shit we don't even look at. Like, Home Depot app says there might be a deal going on. It's like, why am I looking at this? I'm just going to swipe it away anyway. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's I saw this concept. I wish I remember where it was at, but it was a bar, and the way the glasses was they were cut on one side shorter. You had to put your phone, basically, like, your phone would go on the table. In order to set your drink down, you had to set your drink halfway on the phone, or it would jump over.
Idea.
So it literally makes people. I mean, you go to if you're going out for drinks or whatever, the purpose of going out to drinks is to have fellowship with the people around you, right? And enjoy each other's company, not be glued to your cell phone. It's such a bizarre concept, because, again, like, we grew up in that time period where we had that transitional period of we're going from no technology to all of a sudden all sorts of technology.
Bro, we had Snake and our Nokias.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
I recently saw an article where this person has come up with, they're calling the social media platform No Space. So it's a play off of MySpace in the sense of they were wanting to give, we're in Gen Z now? Is that what? this generation is.
I've lost track.
Yeah, so whatever. So they're wanting to give Gen Z, I guess, what millennials had, which was MySpace, and how it's basically set up where you get to see some of your things with your friends. There's no algorithm set up to push certain agendas or push certain topics towards you or ads or anything like that.
It was just you and your friends.
It's just you and your friends. They have
and your bands that you like.
Yeah, and they're going to have a For You page where it can be more of like other people that you can connect with, but you can put your top 8 friends and all that stuff. You could post to people's walls, things like that. And it's supposed to dumb down that social media aspect and actually kind of give you a space to interact with your friends more than what you would through like Instagram, looking at the best features of them or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen is they're going to realize everyone's going to realize they actually don't have as many friends as they thought.
Yeah.
because they have, oh, I've got 10,000 friends that all think I'm very important, and they think that.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a rude awakening if that is. The other thing is nothing. It may start out ad free. It usually doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you end up getting your information
Make
sold,
money,
or
yeah.
you get sold something on ads. Even now the streaming, like Hulu and stuff, which wasn't supposed to have ads, they're all having commercials now.
Everything.
Amazon Prime, we
Prime's
pay
doing
for
the-
it, and that's ridiculous.
YouTube started off as a free platform and then got ads in there. What I think is the downfall of all that is that we've got this almost like everybody puts their best, and we talked about this before. Everybody puts their best foot forward on their social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever I look at somebody's Instagram or I'm looking through their pictures or whatever, and I immediately think, wow, this person's got it together and I don't. They're doing all this cool stuff and I'm not. And we're only seeing a small snippet, right? We're not seeing the full
Heavily
picture.
filtered.
Exactly, yeah.
100%.
And getting away from that, it's difficult to do. I know you consciously have stepped away a lot from social media other than like our main page.
Even ours, I don't do as good as I'd like. I'd
Yeah.
like to. I should.
And
but
like
yeah.
I've stepped away too. Actually, I kind of got forced. I can't access my Instagram on my phone for whatever reason, but I've kind of stepped away from that as well. I'm still caught up in that doom scrolling of TikTok, which is a whole nother thing. Short form media has now destroyed long form media, and it's kind of sad.
Well, I mean, I learned how to change my garbage disposal on TikTok because they're like, 30-second tutorial. And I'm like, 30 seconds? And then I do it. I'm like, this took me 30 minutes.
But now,
Sure. But it was like, okay, well, I can do it myself.
but now I have a hard time watching like some of the YouTube people that I follow, some of those creatives. I have a hard time watching them for any length of time. I'm like, okay, just hurry up and get to the point, because I'm now had that little light switch hit. I've been given that little bit of social media crack, and I just want that like give me the meats and potatoes. Give it as fast as you can give it to me, and so I can move on to the next thing.
All right, Tim could talk about social media and
Indeed.
how bad
Yeah.
things are forever. But let's go back to the music.
yeah,
shall
I have
we?
a question. So, like, the tracks you write, is it based off of, like, experience? Is it based off of your life?
A lot of it is loosely based off experiences, but a lot of it is fictionalized as well.
So, My Heart Only Cries for You, is that one for me?
That's a hard
that
one.
one for me, that was the one that, I was like,
You're going to love our next set of stuff.
There's some heartbreak in that.
I was
yeah.
just like,
There's a lot of bad relationship stuff in there, and I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, I haven't had that many relationships,
Yeah.
but I've fictionalized a lot of those scenarios and created lyrics to kind of match them.
Right.
And so it starts off being about something in particular, but then I'll expand it. I'll expand the story to make it much more interesting than anything I've ever personally experienced in a relationship. But that still kind of hits home and hopefully has some truth to it that other people can hear some of their stories in it.
Right.
And that's kind of the, what I'm learning about songwriting is that, you start with something but then you can expand on that and fictionalize it a little bit and draw and have multiple influences, incorporated into one final idea.
That's art. I mean, that's,
That ultimately tells some truth.
Yeah.
That you can then throw out there that people will or will not relate to.
yeah.
And that's kind of the process. And I continue to exercise that to this day. hoping that the next set of songs that now come out will be as engaging.
I want to just take a minute real quick, not even a minute. Like the lyrics that got me on that track was, I see your face and I turn away. It's hard to look in your eyes. And if I did, I wouldn't know what to say. I'd just stand there hypnotized. That for me was, I was like, man, that's really
real.
That hit. I was like, God, that, not now, obviously, but I mean, it takes you back. And that's
Right.
what I love
To a
about
time,
music.
yeah.
It just, it's a little time machine for you and from everyone, it just took me back to a spot where I was in that situation. And it's
Tracks 4, 5, and 6. Blood on my knees, my heart only cries for you, and you hurt me first. Going in that order, you're just like, oh my gosh, who hurt this man?
Yeah, right.
Those were not. I'm not saying they're rough songs, but you actually start diving into the lyrics, and you're just like, oh my gosh.
And there's literally years or decades in between the writings of those songs, and maybe some of them came from the same sort of thing, but I've had a relationship where I was abandoned, and it was like, hey, what the fuck? I thought we had something good going on. And Blood on My Knees is very, when we play it live, I'm like, here's a cheery little song about abandonment and despair. And here's a song about a bad relationship, and then we'll play the next song. It's like, and this song is about a bad relationship, and we'll play it. And I actually have some good relationship songs. I'm trying to figure out the right project to release them on.
You listen to a lot of music, right? And a lot of it is heartbreak and sad, and just, because that's where some of the most primal feelings come from, and you get those primal happy feelings, but nothing hits as hard as I can relate. Man, you got your heart broken. I had my heart broken too. I can really relate to that, right? My favorite line out of all the songs though was from the first song, and I'm a rocket in flight. Watch me burn, and then I see that you got "Watch Me Burn" on the side there. That's just it paints a really nice picture. Like I can see that. I can see myself like.
I'll take you
look
a little,
at me, right?
Yeah, I'll take you a little deeper than that. So Rocket in Flight is not about a bad relationship. It's a metaphor for aspiring to do great things despite being surrounded by naysayers.
Right, and that's kind of what I got from it.
It's like, watch me burn. I'm burning, I'm hot stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if you listen to Blood on My Knees, it also uses the line, watch me burn. It says, I don't care if you tell me I'm not the one you want forever. I don't care if you watch me burn down to the ground. So it's watch me. That's a different burn.
Yeah.
Right? So that's that's burning, destruction, despair, an opposite meaning. And if you look at the album cover, it's almost like a yin yang where there's burning bright on the top, and then there's like the burning of hell underneath. So there's this whole kind of
inner struggle.
The whole artistic presentation of that is the two different meanings of watch me burn. And in a way, that's kind of how I approached this band project. I'm like, watch me burn. It's either going to be, we're going to do great things and watch me burn like fireworks, or we're going to crash and burn, and it's going to be ugly. Either way, you're going to watch us burn. And so that was the whole concept between making that album and the artwork that Conor Dardis at Thurston Company did a magnificent job following the artistic direction for.
So that's the first album, right, for the Troumatics?
Yes.
And so that one came out 2 years ago?
The whole album came out July of last year.
Last year, okay. So last year. And then you've got another one you're working on that you mentioned a little bit earlier, right? What can you tell us about that one?
So the working title on that is Keep On Flowing, and it's going to be more of a watery theme. But the theme of the album, and we're working on with a bunch of studios to get this thing together. The theme of the album basically is the world's a shithole, okay? For various reasons, depending on what you're talking about. And at some point, you need to find a way to exist. And so you're a metaphorical river flowing through this shithole and staying true to your current or your stream, despite a bunch of trash being thrown in it. And so a lot of the songs are about crappy ways the world is and whether you can deal with them or not. And so one of the songs that hasn't been released yet is called "I Am a River," and in that song, there's the lyric, "I am a river, I just keep flowing.
Nice.
You know, my waters are churning.
Yeah.
We just keep going." And ultimately, we'll release that song, and that'll be one of the key elements of the second album.
Is the metaphor for water is because it's like shapeless? Water is like it could put in a cup and it'll be in the shape of a cup, or if you put in a bowl, it'll be like that. Was it kind of like?
Kind of, although this was more like water can be pure and clean and good, and then you can throw a bunch of crap in it. But either way, if you're a river or a stream, you got to kind of stay your course and just keep on flowing through life. You know. And you got to be malleable. You got to be able to take the shape of the things around you in order to be able to coexist with them. So
100%. So your influences musically, like you've been playing instruments for as long as you can remember. So what influenced you to play like your style? Like how did you? What influences did you know?
So I'm also a product of the music that I grew up listening to all sorts of classic rock and stuff through and pop throughout my year. Again, my dad was musical. He had a huge record collection. He exposed me to a lot of that stuff. But then as I got into adulthood, college, medical school, I was more listening to like the early 80s, 90s college alternative type things. And that's probably the biggest influence as far as my style goes. So again, it's kind of pop rock, Brit pop. There's a lot of names for it. I think there are way too many subgenres out there that it's hard to really nail down what we do. Certainly you've heard some of them sound more classic. Some of them sound a little psychedelic. Some of them are a little rockabilly. But the core of it all is probably more like, radio-friendly college alternative kind of music.
Yeah. Kind of felt like I was listening to Fastball for a bit.
Yeah, Fastball, Smithereens, REM, The Squeeze.
That's what I was going to ask you to do is go back and give me some of those examples. So
yeah, so a lot of that kind of stuff. That genre, the Bodines, who else do I listen a lot to? Certainly some of the grunge stuff, although it's not as grungy. I think this new stuff that's going to come out might sound a little bit grungier.
Yeah.
And the subject matter is a little bit darker than even some of this stuff. But we'll see. We'll see.
When is that coming out?
I don't know when the album will be out yet. We just released 2 of the songs.
Right.
One was Cigarette Love, which goes out to all of the tough girls out there and the nerdy nice guys that fall in love with them. We just released a couple of weeks ago Why This World, which is basically about how, again, everyone wants to change the world to make it better, but there are way too many people that don't care that I don't know that we're going to be so, might have to learn how to deal with it the way it is. And on both those songs, and the one we're going to release on May 11th, along with our show at Harvest House in Denton, is called All These Forces. And that was written during the pandemic, where it was like, it's not about the pandemic, but was influenced by it, where it seems like all the forces of the universe are aligned against you, but you still got to figure out a way to gut through it and do things for the right reasons. And that's called All These Forces. That'll come out. And what's funny is that those 3 songs particularly were recorded when we were in transition with our bass player. And I recorded those at Todd Pipe's studio, who I mentioned he's a lead singer for Deep Blue Something that did Breakfast at Tiffany's, but he's been doing recording for decades. He worked with me and the drummer for those 3 songs. He's actually playing bass on it and singing backup.
Oh, that's really cool.
So I got the Breakfast at Tiffany's guy singing backup on those 3 songs, and playing bass.
What a talented musician too. He is. I've seen him live quite some years ago, back at the Ridgely, whenever the Ridgely was still doing a lot of shows, and then I saw him maybe a couple 2 years ago, I think maybe last year, and the man hasn't. Number one, I don't think he's aged. He looks almost the same as whenever I remember seeing him. And number 2, his voice still sounds it sounds as good as it does on the album as it does live, which you don't see that very often.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him do his thing.
Yeah.
He looks young for his age still, and he is a very talented musician.
And you got him on your next album.
And he's going to be on, these 3 songs were. But yes, he's going to be on the next album.
That's really cool. He's like a local legend.
So, what other dates? You mentioned May 11th, right? What other dates do you have anything coming up?
So May 11th is the next thing. Then I'm doing a solo acoustic thing at Wildflower Festival on Saturday, whatever that. I think that May 18th.
Is that the one in Richardson?
Yeah. With the Dallas Songwriters Association. And then the following week, our band is playing McFly's with Andrew Turner's Fort Worth Roots.
Hell yeah.
Summer live music festival series.
Right.
And so we're doing that with him on the 25th. And then I think my drummer's having shoulder surgery, so we're going to be down for a while. So if there are any substitute drummers out there that don't want to get paid, give me a call, because we may set up some shows, during the ensuing couple of months until he gets back. But I'm hoping he'll be back by September or October, because I'm trying to get us a spot at the Denton Music and Art Jazz Festival.
Oh, yeah.
And then who knows if Arts Goggle will come around and let us play for them. We'll see. There's a lot of competition.
You just got to keep at them with them. Yeah.
The problem is there's so much talented Fort Worth music that it's very competitive, to get a slot. And some of these guys have been around for years and years and years and have, solid reputations. And we're still kind of, I'll admit, we're kind of late to this party because we've only been around for a couple of years compared to these other experienced people. But yeah, I'd love to play Arts Goggle and certainly, hopefully, one of these other art festivals here in the late spring, early fall, or late summer, early fall.
Yeah.
So I've got a question. Do we want to do a couple of questions from the jar, because I pulled some, or do we want to run him through the Funky Five?
I want to ask something completely separate than both of those things.
Okay.
I want to go back and put, we took the doctor hat off, put the rock hat on. I want to get back on the doctor hat and see if you have any crazy stories. Can you tell us stories? Like, are there any stories you could tell us?
That won't affect the hippos.
Right. Well, there's the whole HIPAA confidentiality thing, but
won't affect hippos.
I can tell stories that are already in the public domain or about people that weren't technically my patients.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, one cool thing that isn't necessarily an exciting, funny story, but I was in my career. I was one of the American Society for Surgery of the Hand is the big national organization for hand surgeons, and I was among the short list of people that were allowed to engage the media about hand stuff. So if a newspaper had a story about a hand thing and they wanted a hand expert, a lot of times they would call me. And so I've been quoted as a medical expert in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, among other national publications. So that's pretty cool. I don't know a lot of people that have been quoted in both.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's neat. If people remember, Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks, they won the national championship in 2011. Mm-hmm. And during that series, Dirk injured his finger. And all of the ESPN and Sports Illustrated, they kind of got it wrong as how they reported it and what his actual injury was. And through some people that I know, I was able to get Dirk to let me interview him like a year or so later and get the real story as a public education piece for the American Society for Surgery of the Hand.
Oh, wow.
So we went into the Dallas Mavericks practice thing. Dirk came down, and I got to interview him about his finger injury, which is a video on YouTube. So if you go look on YouTube and search Dirk Nowitzki Jam Finger, you can see that video and then some of the other promo stuff that he did for us. And that my brother, the Ninja Turtle, came in because he does production work as well. He produced that whole thing.
Wow.
So he filmed it and edited it. And that sort of thing. So we got to spend some time with Dirk Nowitzki talking about his jam finger, which is actually a mallet finger. He busted the extensor tendon on his middle finger, and it still lags a little bit. It's funny when he says, he goes, still lags a little bit. But it's okay.
Is that a common injury amongst basketball players, or
It's a common injury everywhere.
just in general?
Everyone that jams your finger or something, I see that a ton. But it's funny because my name Traum is originally like an Austrian-German thing. He's one of the few people besides Javier that got it right the first time. You know, people say, because my name's Steve Traum, but a lot of people say Traum or Troom.
Yeah.
But as soon as I introduced myself, he's like, oh, Traum. He got it right away.
Very cool.
And then there was another time.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about Dirk?
Actually, is he taller than, is he like, you have to look up and like, holy crap, like you're really tall.
Dude, you got to watch the video where we did the promo where I'm going, hey, make sure you look up Hand Society for injuries about your hand. Right, Dirk? And he's standing right next to me and the camera zooms out. And my head comes up to about here. I mean, yes, he's tall. Wow. Short answer, he's tall.
That's so cool. That is very cool. That's like one of I've met like basketball players and, I've seen how tall they are. Even like the ones you see on TV that look shorter, they're still tall. They're over like 6'6", and you're like, oh shit, okay. Like Steve Nash, he's pretty tall. But that's still wild. Like that's a dream person for me to meet. Like I would love to meet Dirk.
100%.
Super nice guy. And the other people that I've met that are bigger than life are pro wrestlers. Mm-hmm. And so I used to know the doctor that traveled with WWE, the Raw show.
Yeah.
And so during the early, this is probably 10, 15 years ago now, whenever they came in town, I could get backstage passes and go to the show and just kind of hang out. And it was mostly hanging out in the medical room.
Right.
But yeah, they had some special seats that I could go out and sit and actually watch the show as well too. But then I had the pass to go on back and stuff. And so it was cool to kind of see stuff back there and all the scars that they all really have and how they have to ice up everything afterwards. Two things come to mind. I don't know if you remember, they used to have a ring announcer. Her name was Lillian Garcia.
Yes, I love her. She has a great voice.
Yes. I got to give her a B12 shot in her butt.
Oh, oh my.
Oh my.
She was very cool and professional about it, and I was I was a professional doctor too. Yeah, she wanted B12. It couldn't be in her arm or anything. Yeah. So, and then there was a time where Vince McMahon himself wanted to get some kind of shot from the actual doctor that was there, was going to give him the shot. But in order to get it in the right place, you have to use an ultrasound. And so he called me. He's like, hey, you got an ultrasound in your office? And we happen to have a little portable ultrasound. So I brought it with me. And he didn't tell me who we were doing at first. He's like, oh, some wrestler needs an injection. But then at the end of I'm waiting around. And then after the show's done, at the end of the night, they clear out the whole back medical area. And then in comes Vince McMahon. Oh, he's like, we're doing this to Vince McMahon. It's like, damn.
Now, was he big also? Because I know, like, back in the day, like, he was a bodybuilder and he was, like, huge. Like, was he?
It's all relative because when you're sitting there, standing next to the big show, everyone's small. Yeah. Some of those guys. But, yeah, he's still,
jacked.
Pretty ripped for an old dude, right?
Yeah, he was in great shape. And so I got the ultrasound, did his hip, and gave him the shot. It worked out great. He thanked me. Probably doesn't.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll never ever remember who I am. But yeah, so that was the time I got to ultrasound a billionaire's groin.
That's
one way to put it.
Not everybody has that feather in their cap.
No, they do not. Well, anything else that you want to talk about or that we needed to like plug, social media or anything like that?
Your single's out now. Your single's out on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the latest one is called Why This World. That came out on April 9th. We're doing a show at Harvest House in Denton on May 11th. It's only $2. I know other stuff is going on, but if you happen to want to come up to Denton and see some cool stuff. And then we'll be back at McFly's on the 25th. Keep a lookout on our, Facebook page, The Troumatics, and social media at Troumatics, and because we're always posting stuff and announcing things. And
It's Troumatics.
yeah, it is.
Right?
It's Troum.
Yeah.
You know, your autocorrect will change it to A, and you might get some cover band in San Diego that has nothing to do with us. So make sure it's Troum. Obviously, we're on Spotify and iTunes and Apple Music and all the typical streaming places. If
and
you like,
physical media.
and we got CDs. We don't have vinyl yet, but
Is that
definitely
coming?
CDs. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
expensive.
I know Lou did it. I was all excited, and I still listen to the vinyl. I love vinyl, but I know it's a whole thing. I mean,
It is.
It's not a cheap thing to do.
It's not. I mean, and you know, like I said, we're still new to this game.
Yeah.
We're still kind of small fish in the big. Yeah, and I guess once we get bigger followings and fans and build up our fan base, then it'll definitely be worth it. But for right now, we're just trying to get out there, get some fans, get people to, you know, enjoy some new rock and roll from Fort Worth, and have a good time.
Hell yeah, brother.
Awesome, man.
Well, Tim's got questions from a jar.
I mean, do we want to do that real quick? I've got one.
Yeah.
He looks like he pulled a couple out there, so yeah, I know he's like, hey.
I have no idea what's about to happen.
It fell. All right. If you could instantly learn any language, which one would you choose and why?
You know, my wife would tell me to learn Korean. so that may be up there, but I think from the standpoint of just the world globe, I would probably say Mandarin Chinese.
Yeah, yeah. That seems very hard.
You know, I know just enough Spanish to get me in jail, so I probably don't need
In,
much
out.
more of that. Well, in for sure, and then maybe cut a few deals while I'm in there.
Right.
But yeah, it'd be something like that.
Okay. Well, very cool. Well, Steve, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been awesome. That was it, right? We
Yeah.
got your social media. We got the songs that just came out. We've got your shows in May, which will be there May 25th, right? Whether Andrew invites us or not, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
We haven't talked to him.
We
in a
always
while.
wait for the invite, but he never sends out the invite.
He hates us now.
I think he does hate us.
He
He
doesn't.
doesn't love us anymore.
He's got that girlfriend now, and it's just
He's got a
you
whole
know,
life.
I know.
Slacking.
Ugh.
Man.
He's like, I already got a Mexican friend. I don't need another.
Whoa, what?
I don't believe he's ever said that.
He told me that. And then he spit on the ground and he threw a taco in my face. Ah. No, but yeah, he's got that music series, that summer music series happening now until his party at Point Glory.
Yep.
So whenever he has that, depending on which date he chooses, because remember last year it was hotter than a witch's tit.
Yeah, I think he's planning on like September 28th for the big party, but he
Yeah.
has a contingency plan for the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if my drummer will be back by then, so I may have to talk to him about, you know, when you get
Drum machines, my friend.
There you go. Just tap on the floor.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. If you don't already do so, please make sure you go follow Troumatics, Troumatics, on all things social media. And y'all have a website and everything. Like, you got it.
The
You got it all.
Troumatics.
The
You got
Troumatics.com.
everything.
That'll tell you everything, man.
Yeah.
And some cool pictures and press.
Nice. If you don't already do so, please make sure you follow us at The Funky Panther on all things social media and thefunkypanther.com. Stay good, everybody. I'm Chad.
I'm Javier.
And I'm Tim.
And we are
The Funky Panther!
Rock on, baby.